Yes, Satan? What the fuck was that?
I don't know.
Is your new place haunted?
It might be. It might be.
What do you want from us, spirit?
Um,
Speak, spirit.
So, we're here in the new digs. We have a new studio. Yeah.
Well, we really have two
So
studios.
if it sounds like shit, that's the explanation.
We're gonna fire this studio, that's for sure.
Yeah. We definitely we try to scrimp, we try to save on our money, and
You don't have to tell them all that. No, we're big ballers, you know.
Yeah.
Living down that Miami
yeah,
life, son.
so many
What
listeners,
you know about that?
so many people like, oh my god, we love these guys.
Yeah.
Give them so much money,
Yeah.
cash money.
They don't need our money. We got boats. Is that how you know you have money? Is you have boats?
I think.
Do you keep the money in the boat?
I think that's how it rolls down here.
You float
I
the
think
boat?
your net worth is directly proportionally related to the expensiveness of the boat that you own.
That's a good start.
I think that's #facts. #not fake news.
Yacht life.
Okay. So, jumping in. I mean, unless you had anything else you wanted to tell the people about your life.
Our
let them
new
know the
studio
real
is so,
David.
Conveniently located at the end of 90 goddamn 5. I didn't know 95 ended.
People from not down here don't know what 95 is.
90, most highways, let's just put it this way. Most highways don't end. They just go across states.
I mean,
I drove to the
for
end.
eternity? I mean,
I drove to the end of one today. It was weird. It was fucking weird. It's like 95 ends. I was like, wait, do I have to pass a test now?
wait, is this the first time you've ever done this?
First time
You
I've
did not
ever
know?
driven down to the end of 95.
David, you understand, right? That we're at the
I just figured they'd build it until eternity, and then it bleeds back into
We're
itself.
at the very southeastern tip of the continental United States. Presumably, all highways that are running up and down this coast end somewhere.
They did something with US 1 though, where
They
it goes
don't-
all the way down
they
to
don't
the
just
fucking
go
Keys.
across the
And then I
Bermuda.
heard they're thinking about building a US 1 all the way out into the middle of fucking the Atlantic.
They don't.
Maybe down to Havana, so that all these strip clubs down here can
I mean,
have a direct route to the
As scary of a place
source of all their
as
talent.
as scary of a place as the David Mind is,
Oh.
I'd like to know
Want to hold my hand?
Where-
I'll walk you down.
where did you think a highway would end?
Probably
Think it
the
just
same,
wraps around
probably
the whole
same
planet, it's a
fucking
giant
place that a
circle?
rainbow ends, Dane. I don't know. Maybe there'd be a pot of gold, a leprechaun, something magical. I wanted something magical. It's just like, this is it. You're getting off here.
All right. Well, it doesn't. It ends down here, apparently close to our new studio, at an undisclosed location because we don't. The NSA already has enough tabs on me. I don't need to tell them exactly.
Can we call it the Bat Cave?
Yes.
Oh,
This is the Batcave.
where's Alfred?
Yeah.
Alfred.
He's chilling. He'll get you a drink
Alfred.
if you finish whatever you got in your glass over there.
Must pay him an insane salary. Is he doing the Lennons?
yeah.
I bet
Oh,
he's
yeah.
doing the Lennons right
He
now.
is. All right. Jumping in, WMDpodcast.com /10 is the place to find this episode, in addition to, YouTube and your podcast catcher of choice.
Subsequently, our first current events.
Yes, because funny story, true too. David, take it away. How did we arrive here at episode 10 and on current events?
Speaking of leprechauns, I think a naughty little one got into my computer and didn't like what we discussed in episode 10. Decided that
AKA, leprechauns means David royally fucked something up in the editing process of our previous episode 10, and he turned his computer on one day and poof, it was gone.
is gone like a fart in the wind. I didn't know where it went.
And so, as you know, if you've been listening episode 6 on, we had a backlog of episodes, so we had already recorded some, and in each one of them we say, hey, this is episode 11, episode 12, episode
all those
13.
annoying times that we've chimed in and said boo-boos as far as the eye can see.
Yeah, that one.
You're probably getting sick of it by now.
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously, episodes 11 through 16 hinge upon there actually being a 10. And David lost it. You know, he set it down somewhere.
I misplaced it. I'll
And
find it.
now we can't find it.
It's like those buttons. You never keep a button, or you never need a button until you throw it away, and then you find exactly where the button came from. Like, we're going to find it like 2 years down the road and be like, oh, we were talking... By the way, it was about Call of Duty and us being pissed off nerds.
Yeah. It's probably better that the people didn't hear that.
I think the leprechaun had our back. He's like, oh, hi-de-do-de-do. Let's just get straight to this. We don't want them to look like fucking fools right out the gate.
Listen, of all the episodes we did record, I mean, that one was funny, I think. But,
I thought it was.
You know, laughing at our expense. I'm not too bummed out that
Fake
they lost
laugh,
that one.
hiding real pain. Anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, jumping into the real thing, no meme attached. Well, no, there are. There's a couple memes attached to this one today. Generally, what we're talking about is the ongoing confirmation hearings of Amy Coney Barrett, and the fear and loathing that surrounds the confirmation process of a Supreme Court justice under the administration of Donald Trump. Because, you know, if the left's hair isn't on fire just as a general state of being, it certainly is when you're talking about lifetime appointments to a court where a simple 5-4 majority can set policy.
Order some golf shoes. We'll never make it out of this mess alive. No footing at all. We can't stop here. This is bad country. The whole galaxy of uppers, downers, screamers, laughers, yellers. Quart of rum, case of beer, fifth of vodka. Not that we needed all that for the trip. But once you get locked into a serious drug addiction, the tendency is to push it as far as you can. You can't say fear and loathing and not expect... I was like holding in a sneeze for like a minute with your diatribe.
That's why I didn't want to say anything. Just wanted to let you run with it. You know, one thing that I've learned in the first few episodes, you know, feedback. Thank you, everybody, for the feedback.
That you shouldn't commit crimes because the 5-0 will be on your ass.
Oh, yeah.
Like that.
Can you guys hear those sirens? I hope they're not coming for us.
Well,
it's a distinct possibility, but I hope not. So there actually are a couple, you know, memes attached to this, but not like the broader societal meme of, you know, I don't know what I'm saying. Anyway,
that's good.
That happens from time to time. So yeah, so we have some things to say about this. Generally, the theme of this episode is everybody's wrong and focusing on the wrong things about the Supreme Court, and we want to flesh that out a little bit.
It's a new angle that we're
David?
taking. We don't usually say that about any of the memes that we deconstruct or destruct or whatever the hell you want to call it. Usually everybody's right all the time, and we just agree with them most of the time. And this is out of the ordinary for us, but we're gonna venture into this territory for you, and we're gonna try to come out the other side with at least some logic and reason still intact.
Yes, let's try that.
Let's do that.
First of all, you know, not to be in blatant violation of everything that we discussed in WMDpodcast.com /3. Sorry, Dems. We want to go after the right first. Should we start there, David?
I feel like it's fair play. Let's give them a couple of jabs. Let's feel them out, and then we'll work our way down.
Let everybody know that, you know, there's criticism all the way around in this process, right?
Of course.
All right, so let's start there. If you've paid even a modicum of attention to the Supreme Court since 2016, I'm sure you're familiar with the kerfuffle that surrounded the Merrick Garland appointment, right? Obama on the way out, you know, I think whatever it was, 6 or 8 months, you know, before the 2016 election, he puts up Merrick Garland, and a Republican-controlled Senate says, nope, not giving him a hearing, not going to confirm, nope. We want a referendum for the people to vote on who they want. If they vote for Donald Trump, more conservative justice is going to be appointed. If they vote for Hillary Clinton, more liberal. We're going to take that chance, but we're not going to give Merrick Garland a hearing.
And everybody was flabbergasted by this kerfuffle.
Yes. Now...
What's another made-up sounding word?
Kerfuffle? Promise it's real.
Flabbergasted. No.
Flabbergasted.
I'm trying to think about other things to tack on to that flabbergasted kerfuffle.
Oh, okay. Well, how about this? You sit over there and think of other fake words.
Muffled.
Fake-sounding real words.
I was muffled by his kerfuffle.
And I'm going to tie the bow on this Merrick Garland thing.
Bow it up.
So, if you remember correctly, which is coming to coming back to bite them in the ass now, the Republicans, for some ungodly reason, surrounded their argument against, or surrounded their argument around not hearing confirmation hearings for Merrick Garland around, well, it's so close to the election, we want the American people to have a say by voting for the next president first. That was a tactical error on their part. It was stupid. It focused on all the wrong things, and all it's done is fast forward to 2020, made them look like hypocrites because they wouldn't give a guy a hearing 6 or 8 months out from an election.
They wouldn't give a crippled crab a crutch.
No, they wouldn't.
I know.
But now, less than a month to go before the election, they're giving Amy Coney Barrett a hearing. So now, and I think people on the left and the center are rightfully call that out and say, wait a minute. You said 6 to 8 months was too close, but a month isn't?
The left and the center?
Yeah, did I say right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I meant left and center.
Just keep you on track.
And this is a total unforced error because all the Republicans had to do in 2016, which would also be a valid thing to say in 2020, is say, listen, under Article 2, Section 2, we have the constitutional authority to provide advice and consent to the president when he makes a nomination to the court. We don't think Merrick Garland coincides with our principles of constitutional interpretation. We think that, it's an originalist document. It's not a progressive document. It doesn't change with the times, things like that. So therefore, we're not going to confirm him. That's our advice and consent. You can put him up, President Obama, but we're not going to confirm him because we, the Republicans, have the majority, and we just ain't going to do it. Now, if they said that in 2016, who could argue with that? They have the full right to do that under the Constitution. Fast forward to 2020. Republicans still control the Senate, and they could say, pursuant to Article 2, Section 2, and our advice and consent to the president on his nomination to the Supreme Court, we agree with Amy Coney Barrett, and we think that her constitutional interpretation principles are valid, and we're going to give her a hearing, and we're going to confirm her. Doesn't matter if President Trump nominates her the day before the election, a month before the election, or a year before the election. We think she's good for the court. We're going to do it.
Well,
stay consistent.
I mean,
you didn't need to make it about.
They could have played nice.
No, right. You could have played nice, but right. The point I'm trying to make is they backed themselves into a corner by shifting the focus to the proximity to the upcoming election.
Of course.
And instead of making it about what are our duties under Article 2, Section 2, they made it about how close are we to Election Day. And now they look like hypocrites. And to be honest, anybody that calls them out on it is right.
Right.
They are being hypocrites.
Well, I mean,
they're playing politics.
And then again,
but
welcome
why should
to DC.
Why should we be surprised?
Like, this is how we roll, son. We roll hard. I don't think McConnell talks like Denzel Washington. I should do. We rolled hard.
Yeah, give me your best turtle voice.
Turtle. We don't want.
That sounds like Kermit.
This.
That sounds like Kermit.
The reptilian.
Amphibian.
Fuck. A frog's an amphibian, right?
Yes.
And a turtle's a reptilian.
Yes.
Shit.
You're gonna.
It's like a Scotsman.
Gotta work on your
Irish.
voices, bro.
Fuck. I haven't done my turtle voice in a long time.
See, this is the
we
problem.
Don't think that you should.
This is when I say, "Hey, David."
They've got to be kind of similar. They got to be in the same world because they're both cold-blooded. They're both relatives,
Oh, they're relatives, but
right.
Your voiceover is falling flat, my good sir.
I'll get back to you on it. I'll go home. Okay.
All right. So, conservative bad. Bad.
Slap on the wrist. Gosh darn it. We really wish that we would have behaved better. Man, we sure look funny with all this egg on our face now and fucking 3 Supreme Court justices in 1 election. God damn. We sure feel bad about that, don't we?
So, note to self, conservatives, if you want to be taken seriously, focus on the correct things. If you don't ask the right questions, you can't get the right answers.
Well, arguably, they did. They got what they wanted. They held off the justice during Obama's last 8 months. They did.
However, what they can't predict is the fallout from the blatant hypocrisy that they're engaging in future elections. They've set themselves up
You mean there might be some squid pro row here, Dane? There might be some turnabout as fair play? My God, if that is true, that cattiness exists in politics, and whataboutism and all this stuff, isms in general, as we were. Oh wow, that's a good one. I just don't know if I can take politics seriously anymore. If you tell me that if that's true, Dane, is that true?
I think that's exactly true.
Oh my gosh.
I think that nobody listening to this podcast or in the wider, wide world of sports and other areas of life should ever take politics seriously.
Don't even get me started on sports. I think the whole thing's rigged. I'm on to you, tennis. With your fouls and your loves.
With the fork stuck in the conservatives, shall we move to the liberals?
Did we stick a fork in them?
I think we did.
Have we sufficiently forked?
And when we've openly and actively and...
Did we give them a good forking down?
Egregiously called them hypocrites, which was a completely deserving title in this respect.
All right, let's unfork the conservatives and stick the fork right up the tailpipe of the Democrats.
All right, lefties, sit down. We have medicine for you.
These are going to be some pills that you're going to want some water with.
They're going to be Jagged. What's her name? Who is it? Jagged
Don't
Little Pill?
you dare.
Alanis Morissette.
Wait until the dust settles. You live, you learn. I got one hand in my pocket and the other one just in a peace sign. That was my jam back in like second grade.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, this is a Jagged Little
second.
Pill we want
That was a good album.
we want y'all to swallow.
Front to back, side to
But
side.
before we get into this Jagged Little Pill, a message from our sponsors.
Do you feel your mental sanity is crumbling just as quickly as your bank account?
Have you been stung by a murder hornet?
Has your daughter walked into your study and informed you that she is a gender you didn't learn about in Biology 101?
Are you just a little bummed out that your life's work just got burnt to a crisp and annoyed that everyone keeps telling you that it's all right, you have insurance?
Well, we have a solution for you. Apocolection 2020.
What is Apocolection 2020, you ask? It's Weapons of Meme Destruction's first live event. For the low price of coming over to WMDpodcast.com and joining our email list, you can get access to the event. The email list is the only way in, as that is where we will share the Zoom link to the event. Come hang out with us on election night, November 3rd, 2020, as we watch the fall of Western civilization together.
Let's have a couple libations and a couple laughs to keep from crying. Apocolection 2020.
Definitely make sure to come to Apocolection 2020. You're going to want to hang out with David and I on
feel like
November
those
3rd.
guys are... Oh, I thought we were going to pretend like we didn't know that it was us.
Did I just blow that?
You did. You want to take it again? We'll cut this out.
Okay, getting into the lefties. So, a couple themes running here, but the main thing we want to say to the lefties is you made this bed, it's time to lie in it. All right? You're complaining now that, the court's too political and that, Amy Coney Barrett wants to impose her personal religious worldview on everybody else and, in the right to abortion and, all other and Obamacare, all other manner of things, right? You're mad that that her personal, political and religious beliefs might color public policy, right? Is that the general objection? Am I getting that right? Is that the concern of the people that are not in favor of her? We won't even just say lefties, but people that just generally just don't agree with her. That's generally what they're saying, right? They don't want her to have a voice in controlling public policy that affects them. Is that accurate?
Somewhere around there.
Okay.
I think.
Now, if you'll all remember, in the 1930s, right, FDR wanted to completely remake society. He had several New Deal plans, most, if not all of them, unconstitutional, and the Supreme Court was striking them down left and right. So he came up with this grand idea. I'm going to pack the court. I'm going to put a bunch of new justices on the Supreme Court because, after all, there is no constitutional impediment to that. The Constitution doesn't say only 9 justices. It says as many justices as Congress wants to.
We want all
put.
the justice. We give us more justice. Just
So,
justice all of our face.
FDR says,
Justice.
you know what? the current makeup of the court isn't supporting my social change policies. I'm going to pack it with a whole bunch of justices that agree with me. They'll start rubber stamping everything I want to do, and everything will be hunky-dory,
Maybe even
right?
make a league. Maybe even make like a league made of justice. Like maybe a Justice League. And maybe like just have all the...
Pretty sure FDR
all
was
the people
shooting to
that-
put Batman on the court.
I was going to go with Superman.
Superman, Batman,
What the
all
fuck
the
was
mans.
Aquaman doing there? Let's be honest.
Some Wonder
What are you
Woman
gonna
in
do,
there.
just in case some fish have some good intel? Is that what we're going to work on? Thanks, Aquaman, for your unyielding support of fish intel. Fishtel.
Now, are you done with the Justice League?
Who else can I pick on? The Green Lantern? No, it's just... all right, go ahead.
Okay. So, and this is a little bit of a law inside baseball. What happened is this is called the switch in time that saved 9. And basically there was...
It rhymes, which makes it good.
I know.
Wow.
That's how
Well,
all
that's how I
good
can tell
things
it's
start
good.
with a rhyme.
Of course.
So to save the fact that there were 9 Supreme Court justices and it was supposed to stay that way, the current makeup of the court at that time started rubber stamping FDR's programs just like he wanted. Now, liberals look back on this fondly and they say, yeah, we didn't exactly win in terms of packing the court. We didn't change the number of justices on the court, but we got what we wanted because we got a 5-4 simple majority of unelected robes from 2 Ivy League schools in New England to basically dictate public policy with the stroke of a pen and say, hey, everybody else in the country, this is the way it's going to be. Screw the legislative process, screw democracy, which we allegedly, nominally hold as this sacrosanct institution. We're just going to have...
Word of the day, sacrosanct.
Sacrosanct. We're just going to have a simple 5-4 majority of unelected lawyers decide public policy in this country. And that's the way it's going to be. And every step of the way throughout the 20th century, the left has cheered this. And so now I say, when you turn what is supposed to be a non-political branch of the government, is supposed to be the Supreme Court, they're supposed to be standing outside of whatever the legislative and executive branches do and call balls and strikes and say, listen, the Constitution does allow this, or it does or it does not allow this, and that's just it. We're not going to get into, sweeping policy changes with our pens. That's just the way it goes. But now, all you need is 5.
You can't sweep with a pen, Dane. Jesus Christ. Funny side note, though, not to break your rhythm up too much.
I was really flowing, but go
were.
ahead.
But I hadn't talked in a while, and that makes me angry. I always thought Ivy League from when I was 5 was like IB League. And I was like, why do they call these schools maybe I'd be so proud to go there or some shit like that? Or did they have something to do with ibuprofen's invention or something like that? And then I found out it was Ivy at around 12ish. And I was like, why the fuck do they call them Ivy? And then it was only after that that I found out that number 1, you have to be really, really smart to get in it. And then number 2, it's from a place that ivy grows. Very anticlimactic. Go ahead. What were you talking about? It was really riveting.
Good. That's good.
Listen,
I love the
I
windows.
like to be open. I like to be open with our...
I love the windows
two
into
fans.
Tiny and forming David that made him into the man that he is today.
That might be why they didn't let me into their schools, too. Let me in, ibuprofen schools. You let me in right now. I have a right.
Was that your application to Harvard
so.
about you
I think
wanted
so.
to get into the premier ibuprofen school?
Yes.
Yeah. That's a good look.
They didn't even send me a letter back saying, sorry, we don't accept your application. They're just I think he's fucking with us. I'm pretty sure.
All right. So.
Joke's on you, Harvard. Now I got a park. Can I take that again? Joke's on you, Harvard. Now I got a podcast. Boom.
Stepping back to the theme and the meme.
Ooh, snap. It rhymes. That makes it good.
That
makes it
we've
good.
established that.
Oh,
yeah.
fuck. That's a callback from earlier in the episode.
So, stepping back to the theme and the meme of everybody getting it wrong.
Oh,
right?
I was expecting you to get the next part to rhyme, too.
Oh, well, I'm not that clever. I'm working on it. I didn't get into ibuprofen schools.
That's true. Advil is the way you went.
Yeah,
but it's fine.
it's
It's
true.
fine.
It's
We'll
true.
go with it.
So, lefties, you got what you wanted for basically the entirety of the 20th century. You effectively and successfully turned the nominally apolitical branch into a political one, and now Republicans, who again controlled the Senate in 2016 and control the Senate now, are playing politics with the court. Surprise, surprise. Am I supposed to feel sorry for you when you cheered every single instance of the court legislating in your favor? And you'll notice this is the judicial branch, not the legislative, so it's not what they're supposed to be doing. You cheered it, so why should I feel sorry for you now just because you're losing the political battle? But let's get into a couple memes from a couple different places, because
it's only been 20-ish minutes.
Because we
haven't introduced a meme yet. Doing a shitty job of our meme destruction.
Because they're illuminating of the way the lefties are viewing this whole process. And again, sticking with the theme of the episode,
like the stars,
focusing on all the wrong things.
Like the glow-in-the-dark stars of my room at night when I was 10.
Yes.
When I was thinking ibuprofen was the reason why the schools were named ibuprofens.
Mm-hmm. That's the one.
They just bottle them up, sell them around the world. Okay.
All right, so this meme comes from a Facebook group called The Other 98%.
Shout out.
Super lefty, as you'll be able to see if you go check out our episodes on YouTube, where our video editor Carlos just dominates making these podcast episodes and videos hilarious. You'll see their Facebook photo is Biden-Harris 2020. So you can see they're really nonpartisan over there at The Other 98%.
I feel like keep it right down the middle.
So they have a picture of Amy Coney Barrett, ACB for short.
Oh, shit. ACB in the place to be. What's going on?
Sitting at her confirmation hearing, with people in their Orwellian masks sitting behind her. Anyway, what it says under the picture of her is it says, "I don't give a shit that she lives her faith. I give a shit that she'll force the rest of us to live her faith."
Man.
So, doubling back on that, making that court political thing, right? Now, if you'll remember, ACB is taking the place of RGB.
Fuck, man.
I'm rhyming, bro.
AOC.
I couldn't put this out as I wanted, right?
Peace be to RBG.
Now,
there we go.
Think about what the lefties have been saying since the death of RGB,
Rest
right?
in peace.
So they've been saying, you know what we admire most about RGB is she lived her principles, right? She was on the court and she was, she fought for what she believed. Oh, that's the best one.
For justice.
I totally gave her more credit than I should have. She fought for what she believed in, right?
Okay.
That's something to be lauded according to the left.
Correct.
Now, in my view, if you're fighting for what you believe in, that is the exact thing that is going to make you not a good Supreme Court justice. Again, you're not supposed to be up there fighting for policy.
You're just putting ones and zeros together.
You're not supposed to be up there fighting for, your view of the world. You're supposed to be saying, this is what the law is, period, full stop. This is either what the Constitution allows or does not allow, or this is what Congress intended or didn't intend by the law that they drafted, right, and passed. You're not supposed to be, quote unquote, fighting for what you believe in. But yet, when RGB does it, it's the greatest thing ever. When ACB does it, it turns into a meme of, I give a shit that she'll force the rest of us to live her faith. Well, if she is...
Go ahead.
Just this last little thing on this meme. If she is forcing everyone to live her faith, how is that not fighting for what she believes in? She's doing the exact same thing on the court that you lauded RGB for. Now, what it comes down to, if you don't like her versus you like RGB, it's not about the judicial philosophy of fighting for what you believe in. It's the fact that you don't like what she believes in. Right.
That's all I was going to say. It's like,
yeah.
It sounds like a little bit of bitter biscuitry. If you like alliterations, drop that in your mug.
Boom. Light it up, throw it at your face.
It's kind of that whole principle, like, well, she fights for what she believes in, but she believes the same thing as I do, so she's a good person. What is that called? Manichaeanism? Or
Call back,
son.
call back, baby.
Oh, David's starting to get a little bit of that lawyerism in him. Getting a little law degree from, a little Advil U. Anyway, it's cool to be open-minded as long as you're open-minded in the way that I'm open-minded. But if you're open-minded in the other way, then you're evil and you must be destroyed. And that's basically politics, right? It's current day identity politics. It's like, it's cool if you're open-minded and fight for what you believe in, as long as you agree with me. As long as what you believe in is what I believe in. Cool.
Yeah.
So since the dawn of time, humanity, can we agree on that? Okay.
And I mean, calling back to episode 6, A Sustenance of the Masses, where in that episode, what we were really talking about is how destructive the tribalism of politics is. Like, again, we get it. Biologically speaking, as human beings, tribalism helped us survive and get off the safari and create civilization, right? But in the modern context of the tribalism of politics, where everybody that's on my team, whether it be red or blue, is categorically right in every respect, and everybody that's on the opposite team is the epitome of evil, you're going to run into these situations where if you don't happen to control the reins of power at a given time, your principles, your alleged principles of quote-unquote fighting for what you believe in, can turn against you. And now, instead of engaging in the legislative process, which is what, again, this was supposed to be about, Congress is supposed to be the one that dictates policy, and you have a direct say in that through electing your representatives, not the Supreme Court. But because you lauded the RGBs and all the people that came before her that fought for what they believed in, now you don't control the reins of power. You don't have the White House to nominate another RGB, and you don't have a Senate to confirm her.
So what you're saying right now, Dane, is come together right now.
Over making the Supreme Court apolitical?
That's pretty much it. I don't know if that's
it really flows, right? Right off the tongue.
It just rolls off the tongue. Anyway.
Hashtag make the Supreme Court apolitical again.
Hashtag Beatles.
That doesn't quite flow like
hashtag
make
trademark.
America great again, but whatever.
Hashtag lawsuit.
Okay, moving on. Next meme. This comes from one of the illustrious Twitter blue check marks, which I don't know who this joker is, but, he's got a blue check mark, so we should pay attention to him.
Man, he must be important. A lot of people must care about him.
A guy by the name of Alex Winter has this to say about Amy
With a
Coney
name
Barrett.
like that, he better be getting a lot of action in the bedroom. Alex Winter.
And a lot of you have probably seen it's become a meme now of Amy Coney Barrett when she was asked to show the notes that she was looking at during the confirmation hearing.
You can't put a first name to that fucking last name and not have an awesome name. Alex Winter. Forrest Winter.
I'm just happy that you're focusing on the real key matters that matter.
Listen,
here. The matters that matter.
Oh,
yeah,
good.
I said that.
Listen.
I'll say it again. You want me to say it again?
Dick
matters
Winter.
that matter.
Richard Winter. Dick Winter. Peter Winter.
Okay.
They feel like they're destined for greatness. I feel like he made that up. I feel like that's not his real name. It's probably like Lipchinsky or something like that. Alex Lipchinsky. Go ahead.
Okay. So the picture is of ACB holding up a blank notepad, saying, "Ha ha, stupid senators who don't know shit from apple butter.
Suck my dick."
I'm not looking at any notes because I don't need to. Anyway, so what Mr. Winter has to say, his pithy little comment here, is that picture, and he tweets, "This doesn't say I'm so smart I don't need notes. It says I have no respect for you or this process and serve other masters." Now, let's break down that second thing.
Now we gotta get into Dungeons and Dragons. Is she like a 4th level mage? What are we even doing right here now? Are we casting
seems
spells?
legit.
She's got a master now. Where's her chain? What are her hit points? What's her alacrity? What are we talking about right now?
A lot of words I don't know anything about.
You're full of shit. We play it every Saturday. I like to be Gandalf, or at least monitor my character around him. You're more of like a level 70 orc with a hit power of 700.
I'm an orc, bro?
Of course you are.
Come on.
An orc of justice.
I'm not like Aragon or some shit.
Oh God, you're so 1990s. You're so Lord of the Rings.
All right. So anyway, you brought up Gandalf first.
I know. Don't call me out on my bullshit.
You're the one that's cross-platforming
I'm the one.
here.
I'm the one that's calling you out on your bullshit.
Okay.
By the way, I want to track back to my dick joke that I made about the female justice. I thought that was clever.
I don't think that's necessary at all.
It wasn't, but I did it. So.
I'm glad that I didn't hear it, but when we listen back to this in the editing process, I'm sure I'm going to be appalled.
I am too. I'm appalled.
Do you wake up in the morning, look at yourself in the mirror, and go, I am just fucking appalled?
Yeah. It's part of my morning ritual. I do that. I slap some aftershave on any open wounds that I have.
Keeps you humble, right?
Yeah. Keeps me grounded.
All right, well, moving on
Really
past
wakes you
that.
up, too.
So I have no respect for you or this process. All I have to say that is fucking duh. Have you, I mean, first of all,
What was
Whether-
the last one?
whether-
The last one was just like a fucking shouting match between Kavanaugh.
the
being
whole thing is a joke.
just-
If I swear to God, if you take any of these people seriously,
I wouldn't be surprised if an arm wrestling match broke out in one of these.
like we are literally ruled by the dumbest human beings to ever exist in the history of
And finally,
mankind.
we're getting to the crux of the matter here. Now
Yeah.
we're finally getting to some meat and potatoes of the issues.
So like, you know, wailing and gnashing of teeth over whether or not the process is being taken as seriously. Give me a break, bro. Alex Winter, get off your high horse.
Lipchinsky, please.
And then to the last part of his, you know, little sarcastic tweet, and serve other masters. Again, I retreat to the first tweet that we talked, or the first meme that we talked about here. So what masters was RBG serving? Nobody at all, right?
No, she was,
She was just fighting for what she believed
She
in.
was serving an altruistic master. That was obviously implied.
Yeah.
Now, apparently, what's her ABCD EFG name
ACB.
again? ACB. Yeah. See, ACBD. No, it doesn't roll off the tongue. But she's obviously serving the Dark Lord that wants, chaos to envelop the land and darkness to spread throughout the world.
Yeah.
Duh.
So, you know, that's serve other masters. That's just, I mean, not only is that completely and utterly tone deaf, I mean, the entire government is serving other masters.
Hashtag
Just a brief little detour.
Me Too.
A brief little detour.
Let's take a
Right?
take a trip down the side road.
Okay, I'm just going to go back over the past 30 years, right? I'm going to say, all right, George H.W. Bush invades Iraq, and when Clinton runs against him in 1992, he says, oh, you know, we shouldn't be engaged in all these foreign affairs, blah, blah, blah. You know, let's rein the foreign policy in. And then he proceeds to bomb Bosnia and, again, further embroil us in a bunch of other foreign conflicts. And then George H.W. Bush comes in and says, you know, I'm going to run on passionate conservatism, compassionate conservatism. And, you know, I'm not going to get involved in all these foreign quagmires, and I'm not going to spend all of our blood and treasure overseas.
What does
And I'm
Family
going
Guy have anything to
I'm
do
gonna
with this?
I'm gonna take care of America first. And then he proceeds to, you know, reinvade Iraq and get us in Afghanistan, where we still are 20 years later, and blah, blah, blah. Obama runs in 2008 on hope and change, and again, part of that hope and change is change the foreign policy consensus, quit spending blood and money all over the world, and yet we have 8 years of the droner-in-chief bombing weddings and hospitals and schools full of children, and engaging us in even more conflicts
But
than he
then he pulled
inherited
us
from
out of
George W.
Iraq.
Bush.
But then re-engage us in
And then fast forwarding to today, Donald Trump says, you know, maybe we should get out of these foreign conflicts, yet he's still in every single one of them he inherited. And he talks a big game about drawing troops down, yet here we are, and he's still dropping bombs at a rate that his predecessors couldn't keep up with. And so what I say to you is, in terms of serving other masters, does it seem to you, in that brief little trot across history, does it seem to you that since the early 90s, if you're looking at it objectively, does it really matter who the commander-in-chief is? Is there not
They all
somebody
serve the
behind the
same
scenes
master.
pulling the strings?
Yes, let the hate flow through you.
Whoever that master is, let's not kid ourselves about the masters that the government, in general, forget just the Supreme Court, but just in general, who they serve. And now this is allegedly supposed to be a government of the people, by the people, for the people. Does it seem to be serving us when every single time, election after election, the American people vote for the candidate that is the least belligerent in terms of, again, one insular subject of foreign policy, yet the policies always continue to not only stay the same, but accelerate. So what masters is the government in general serving?
Well, I think
You'll have to pardon me if I scoff at your idea that one Supreme Court justice serves other masters when the rest of the government spends billions of dollars a year on not the health and welfare of the American people, but instead bombing poor people that just happen to be born in different countries. That was my brief aside.
Wow.
On other masters.
Okay. Can we return to the main road?
I think so.
It's scary down that road.
It's a scary place.
It is.
It's a scary place.
Right.
When you really step back, get out of your tribalism and look at the government for what it is.
Can you take me back to apple pie and Chevys with the levees running dry and so on and so forth?
We're getting long on this episode, but do I have time for one more? Do we have time for one more?
Can we ask our Dark Lord Masters? Hey, Masters!
Yes, child.
Can we do one more?
I suppose. So be it. Let it be written. Let it be done.
Thanks, Dark Lord. Thank you. Thank you. Go back to your slumber for another 400 years. Thank you. Do you think
was that a yes? I didn't catch the definitive yes or no.
We only have
answer.
to sacrifice a virgin later. He mouthed that to me. Virgin later.
Oh, okay. But that's
gonna be hard to find now.
Whether that happens, or not, was that a yes or no?
Yeah, we can keep going.
Okay.
We
just gotta wrap it up quick.
Make it short because he's probably gonna want more.
I just want and this is good feedback from the memes, and I want to make sure that we acknowledge it and incorporate it. To reiterate the theme of this episode, focusing on the wrong things. This last one comes from a name you might recognize by the name of Dan Rather. You know Dan Rather, right? Mr. Was he
He's all right in
CBS for a long time?
He was the evening
or ABC
news.
Evening News, CBS, ABC, something like that.
Something like that.
Okay, so Dan Rather, big name, big voice. Got a big following, got a nice fancy blue check mark on Twitter.
He's got a nice voice. I wouldn't say he's got.
He's supposed to be wise, right? He's supposed to be the one who's really
he's the
guiding
voice
the
of
American people in the right direction.
And he was always the fair and balanced one.
So
in Bosnia, 7 sodomites went down a slender road toward a side street that then doubled as a thoroughfare. And that's where I met your mother. But she had a lustful gaze in her eyes for another man. So
didn't you tell me we had to wrap this episode up quickly?
Fuck, that's right. Shit. Okay, go ahead.
All right.
I was coming up with the whole backstory for how he was telling his child why he was. I don't even know if Dan Rather has.
Listen, I'm gonna take the full brunt of the blame on this episode for going a little bit long. Okay. So this is not a.
I just like Dan Rather.
This is not a chastisement of you.
Coming up with a history.
You probably could have afforded that longer
history for Dan Rather.
Example.
I thought it was a good road to get.
If I hadn't been so long-winded.
You have a lot.
But you've already given me license for this,
go for
so
it.
we have to do it.
Go. Let's go. Dan Rather.
So what Dan has to say on Twitter on October 14th, 2020 is this. If you want to be a quote-unquote originalist in law, maybe you should go all the way. Cooking on a hearth, leeches for medicine, an old mule for transportation. Or maybe you can recognize that the world changes. That's funny, Dan. You're a clever guy. You're so wise. Yeah, I think we should go all the way, Dan. I think we should say that, the First Amendment, free speech, applies to ink quills and town criers, standing at the most
this is an American
at the busiest intersection of Boston, yelling the news of the day. I don't think it should apply to the internet. I don't think that your ability to quote unquote peaceably assemble should apply to your ability to organize an event over Facebook. I agree, Dan. I think that those things are not protected by the First Amendment. What say you, David?
A salty news anchor has nothing but ill rapport for you right now, child. You're lucky I don't jump across this table right here and have your guts for garters.
I want you to be Dan for the rest of this episode.
I just might.
Okay.
I'll try not to break character.
So you may have already gathered from Dan's tweet dripping with sarcasm. This is the meme that is trotted out every time. Usually it applies in the Second Amendment context where people are like, the Constitution was meant to change over time, and they drafted it with the idea of muskets and it didn't anticipate AR-15s and blah blah blah. See, here's the thing about the Constitution. Two things. First of all, these general principles apply across space and time. So that's the reason why the First Amendment applied only to, quills on parchment in 1789, and why it applies to your Facebook posts today.
What did they Facebook post about in 1789?
Because the principle is that you have a right to free speech, just like you have a right to self-defense.
Since you're such a patriot, what did they Facebook post about in 1789, Dane? Did you ever think about that?
No, I haven't put any thought into that whatsoever.
Right, you little youngster.
And so that's the first thing that's wrong. It comes up with this stupid. It injects into the conversation that, the Constitution is this outdated thing that needs to change. But even if I grant you that, Mr. Rather, it gets me to my second point of, guess what? The Founding Fathers, being so much more intelligent than you, knowing that they couldn't predict the future, provided you the exact framework to change it if you want. It's called Article 5. If you want to change something in American society so bad, if you want to say, you know what, Second Amendment doesn't apply to AR-15s, you know what you can do? You can propose a constitutional amendment. As long as you get 3/4 of the states and a supermajority of both houses of Congress to agree with you, you can change it. You can say, in perpetuity, the federal government is going to hand out $1,200.
Stop using big words I don't know the fucking meaning of.
You could say for the rest of time that this country exists, the U.S. Treasury will give every American citizen $1,200 a month for the rest of time. And if you got that to be an amendment, and you got, again, 3/4 of the states and a supermajority of both houses to agree with you, guess what? That's law, bro. That's Constitution. That trumps everything. You have a vehicle.
Got a smug little look on your face that I'd like to slap off right now, boy.
But do you know
I was in 2 foreign wars, and you know that I wasn't.
Mr. Rather, but do you know what it takes to accomplish that?
I'm assuming you're going to tell me.
It takes persuasion. It takes convincing the people that you have to share a nation with and contribute to financially and in the form of taxes and everything else. You have to convince them without force, without violence, without an unelected majority of lawyers on the Supreme Court. You have to convince them that your idea is the right way to go. And if you can convince enough people to do that, all your wish is the rest of the country's command. It becomes part of the Constitution, and it's enshrined. The 27th Amendment is just as valid as the first. So, when I see people make this comment like Dan Rather did, you know what I say? I say I say to you, Dan, you're just a sore loser. Because you've known from day one.
This evening news broadcast has gone completely out of control. I don't know what the fuck you're saying anymore, young'un. I'm going to get out of here, and I'm going to give David his mic back. I don't want to see your face around here again, boy. I was trying to tell you about a lustful encounter I had with a woman that I sired an illegitimate child with 5 minutes ago, and you're just dribbling on about nonsense about government and such. So I'm going to turn it over to David. Thank you, Mr. Rather. And
I don't know.
May God have mercy on your soul.
I don't know when Dan.
Bye, Dan. I don't know why your footsteps are still as loud as if you didn't leave, but adios.
I don't know how Dan became some cowboy in the Wild West, but
I think he's gained a little grizzle over his retirement. I think he's seen some things in life that he's finally taken his toll on him. Poor guy. He looked well rested, but just like weary from a long life.
I know he left, but maybe he'll listen to this podcast at WMDpodcast.com.
Maybe he'll come around.
Episode or /10.
Should we thank anybody for the?
But what I just want to leave Dan with this one parting word. If you know the rules to the game before you start playing, and then midway through the game, you just want to sarcastically dismiss the rules and say, you know what, it doesn't apply to me anymore. I don't want to go through that process. I don't want to go through the effort of convincing people. I just want 5 judges to rule in my favor, and then like magic, it applies to 320 million people. If that's your view of the way that government should run, you'll have to pardon me if I don't feel sorry for you when it doesn't turn out in your favor.
You mean like the Republicans did at the beginning of this podcast?
Yeah.
Sounds hypocritical, right?
Yeah.
So both sides are being hypocrites?
Yeah.
Is that basically what we can sum up here?
I think so.
Should we thank people for listening? Number one, thank you so much.
I think
Number
so.
two, should we thank the EQer of our podcast? Can you tell them what our EQer of the podcast is?
Yeah. Well, we have 2 people we want to thank, right?
Right.
I'll do the first. You do the second.
Sounds great.
Okay. We'd like to thank Podsworth for doing our audio production. If you are starting a new podcast, or maybe you've been doing one for a while and you're struggling with your audio production, listen to this one. Hear how good it is. And again, we're not in a very sophisticated studio. The reason why we sound so good is because of
We haven't renovated
Chris
the Bat
over
Cave
at
yet.
Podsworth, podsworth.com. Check him out. Definitely use him for your services, because the man is a miracle worker, to be honest. And that's why we sound so good, and it can happen for you and your podcast too. Who's the other guy that helps us out with the production of this show?
Well, my endorsement's going to sound pretty shitty comparative to that. Take 2. Comparative to that. There we go. I think I nailed it on take 2. Carlos Plaza Drums, thank you so much for editing the video and all the other bullshit that we do on this podcast, putting the website, or getting all the website up and all the social media engagement, keeping us abreast of it. And so, what's that?
By the way, another thing on that, can you talk a little bit about a project that he's got going on over there at Carlos Plaza? It's a very worthwhile project that we want people to check out. It's called, I believe it's called Drumming for All. Carlos, feel free to cut my head off if I got that wrong. Drumming for All, right?
So basically what
Yeah.
he does is he accepts basically sponsorships or donations from abroad to teach children that have ill means or less than means in different countries that just
some
can't,
children,
they can't
some
afford,
not, yeah.
They can't, anybody that wants, drum lessons that they just simply can't afford due to their financial predicament. So
Financial predicaments, and I mean, just simple fact, no matter where they are in the world, they don't have the same access to the
Right.
resources that we may have in
So
the
he
United
wants to
States.
offer them drum lessons on the
Yeah.
cheap. So any sponsorship that you can have, what website do you go to? I think it's just Carlos Plaza
I think it's
Drums.
carlosplazadrums.com.
We'll get the he
It'll
hasn't
be-
sent us a script.
You know
over
what?
Yet,
You know
so
what? For both Podsworth and Carlos Plaza, we're going to put in the show notes page
A link to both of
a
their
link
things.
to both.
If you feel
definitely.
So after you've given so much money to us, like once you've donated your yacht to us, I mean,
Yeah.
definitely throw a Finsky
Then you
or
can
two.
think about throwing
Right.
them a buck or 2.
But definitely give us a yacht. I need a yacht because I need women dancing scantily clad on my yacht.
And with that, I think we're going to sign off. Is that right?
Sounds about right to me.
All right. Let's
All right.
listen. Let's listen to
Rate,
David
review,
rock out.
Subscribe, do all that poop. Have a good night
All right. Metal in your face.
or morning or midday.